Good night. Good night. Good evening, y'all. Good evening, and welcome to The Women Are Out of Control. The women are out of control. The goal here is to help you break the bonds of control in your life and to step into the driver's seat in your life. Sometimes we have heavy conversations here, so I want you to always make sure that you are taking good care of yourself. If you ever need to step away, if you ever need to share something um, privately, you can reach out to us at talktothewomen@gmail.com. Um, you can also come on and share your story by reaching out to us at talktothewomen@gmail.com. Here we have a mix of conversations where it's just me having a conversation about current events, things that are happening in the world, and where I bring on women who have walked away from high control situations, who have escaped and reclaim control in their own lives, reclaim power in their own lives. So today, all week, all week, I have been waiting to kind of have this conversation. It's probably going to be a multi-part conversation just to kind of move with the times as they are and the things as they are happening. So if I need to add more to this, I will. But as the week unfolded, I said, "Oh my goodness, it is time for women to put our foot down." As things just and I think women collectively woke up and decided that it is time to put our foot down. Things have gone too far. Things have gone too far. And many women are asking themselves right now, when is enough enough? When is enough enough? And I know that due to the ways that we have been programmed by a patriarchal, male centered society, we have often been posing that question to the wrong person. We pose that question to our partners. We pose that question to our systems and governments. We pose that question to our so called leaders and the people in power. We pose that question to our jobs when really we should be asking ourselves, when is enough enough? And defining for ourselves, when is enough enough? Because over the last week, we have seen, so for me, kind of I saw the conversation about the academy bubbling up last week, bubbling up at the top of the week, and it was kind of like just whispers like, "Oh, something has been found." It's like, "Oh, that's weird. It's awful." But then, excuse my dogs, but then the CNN article actually broke, and we all got to see what it really is. And so what that lets us know is we are past the point of appealing and trying to appeal to anyone, trying to appeal to men, trying to appeal to their sensitivity or any of that. The men who are safe, you don't need to appeal to. The men who are safe are trying to eliminate these academy students just like the rest of us. But we are past the point of appeal, and women worldwide are waking up and remembering that we might not have built this, because a lot of men try to say, "Oh, well, what did women build?" Gratefully, I don't have those men in my circle, but I see it all the time. Men saying, "Oh, well, what men built everything in the world." We might not have built it, but we certainly birthed it. We birthed the builders and everything else. So many women are waking up, and I have my notes right here because this is conversation just kind of, but so many women are waking up and remembering that. And so many women are waking up and remembering that to bow to the thing that you birthed is out of order. And the illusion that we have been sold that we are supposed to be in submission to our own creations is out of order. And it has the whole world out of order. It has everything out of order. And so women are waking up and remembering that. We are waking up and remembering that we have the power to turn this thing around. That we have the power, that the position, and not to say that we've quote unquote chosen this position. We have chosen to perpetuate the position over time for various reasons, whether it's from ease or convenience or safety or whatever have you. But that in being out of alignment and the world being out of alignment, we also have the power to set it straight. It doesn't have to stay out of alignment. But before we can set it straight, we need to realize, like, where are we off track? Where are we off track? Because listen, take it from someone who has stayed in situations too long and who has let people play in my face for too long. At some point, whether it's early or late, what we allow is a choice. And I say all the time, my stepdad gave me the best advice I think could ever be given to a daughter. And that is to understand that anything a man does to you, your man can't do anything to you that you don't allow. A man can't do, and this does not include situations where you are accosted or situations where you are assaulted or raped, but what you allow a man to bring into your life is all on it. You get to choose. And so often, yes, full understanding of the fact that people wear masks and people hide their true intentions and people hide who they really are all the time. And also, there are often signs, there are often traits, there are often experiences that we have along the way that let us know who people are. The mask slips. And when it does, what we have been programmed to do, I said the other day, all the hooping and hollering in the world is not going to stop somebody from playing in your face when you've been programmed to be a playground. What we have been trained to do as women is to ignore when we notice those things and to talk ourselves out of what we're seeing, what we're experiencing, to tell ourselves that we're overblowing it, we're overreacting, when really your body is signaling to you, your heart is signaling to you, your gut is signaling to you, that person's actions are signaling to you. And so, how do we set it straight after it has gone awry? This is, again, not to put the onus on women to fix everything, because we cannot control anybody else's behavior. However, what we can control is what we allow to exist in our world, and what we do in order to secure that. Okay, so how do we set it straight when it's so out of alignment? In my opinion, and I'm just going from my own lived experience, it comes down to putting your foot down. Whether that's with a parent, whether that's with a job, whether that's with a man, whether that's whoever it's with. Because in every layer of society, we can see the ways that women are being exploited. But in order for that to stop, we keep saying, I see people say all the time, well, the perpetrator needs to stop that behavior. And yes, they do need to stop that behavior. The fact of the matter, though, is they probably won't. They probably won't. And so realistically, how do you set things back in order? How do we as women set things back in order in the world? We put our foot down and we do not allow the bullshit to continue. Men who are rapists are ostracized from society. If that includes, it includes, period. Period, point blank, the end. I know I'm not the only one that's seeing these news articles where women are saying, you know what, enough is enough. Mama in Brazil just got off. They said it wasn't a crime. How about that? Because the fact of the matter is, when it becomes inconvenient and or dangerous, unsafe to exploit, to harm women and girls, it'll stop happening. I heard somebody say today, was Ray Shonda. Shout out to Ray Shonda. I heard Ray Shonda say today, as it pertains to these frat brothers out here defending or eulogizing their frat brother after he killed his wife. They gonna get tired. When they get tired of being pallbearers to their brothers, they're gonna stop. Things will change. Do with that information what you will. Because the one thing is, obviously we can't be out here having a bloodbath, but also we cannot allow the world to think that it is just safe to continue on in this way when we are the ones who birth the world. We're doing an excellent job putting our foot down on this birth rate right now. And I say that as a happy mama for. I love my 4 babies, and that's just, we're going to stay right there. We're doing an excellent job putting our foot down as it pertains to our money and not letting up on what we deserve to be paid. Keep going. We're doing an excellent job putting our foot down on these toxic parents and going no contact with people who refuse to do the work on themselves. Keep going. Because this is what putting your foot down looks like. It looks subversive to your family. It looks subversive in your industry. It looks subversive in your friend group. It looks subversive to the world. Because it is. Because we are living in a subverted world. We are living in a world that is off track. So you getting back on track and deciding what goes in your life is going to look like, well, who does she think she is? Doesn't even matter. Here is the law in my life. And that's what putting your foot down really is. Laying down the law in your life. I don't even let men joke for real around me. We're not, nah. And my husband will tell you that. We don't joke on each other. I'm not doing all that. The slippery slope to abuse, the slippery slope to, and that's just, listen, I'm not saying you need to do what I do. I have a very strict program and always have. However, the slippery slope to somebody calling you out of your name and it getting serious, now I'm hurting your feelings. We don't even need to do all that. And that is a lower level example, but what are the rules in your life? What are the laws in your life? We are so busy following everybody else's rules. Oh, I can't do that. Oh, I can't say that. Oh, if I do that, they're going to feel like this or they're going to think like that. What has it gotten us as women? How much worse can it get for women in the world? How much worse does it need to get before you say the laws, the rules, throw that rule book out, and write your own. And in my world, this is how things go. We can't keep saying, oh, they need to move over and let us have a matriarchy. They're not going to move over and let you have anything. Are you going to stand up and take it? Are you going to put your foot down and make your world a matriarchy? That's what really matters. Are you going to put your foot down? Because nobody is going to move over and let women have anything. No, we birthed this world. Move them out the way. The ones that won't move, because there are those who will absolutely part the Red Sea for the mother. When you step into your divine mother energy, mama ain't asking nobody for nothing. And I listen, again, I am a mama 4. I do my best to be, but when it come down to the come down, these children know I'm not asking. I'm not asking. Especially if you tearing my house up. And we need to get on that level as women globally. This is our house. We are the divine womb. We are the earth and the waters that everything is born from. And we have the authority to sit everybody down when they tearing the house up. But will we put our foot down, or are we still waiting for permission? Are we waiting for somebody to say it's okay? Are you waiting for someone to validate you and pat you on your back and tell you that you're being a good girl and a good daughter and a good wife and a good woman? It's not going to happen, because when you start putting your foot down is when they're going to start calling you crazy. When you start putting your foot down is when they're going to start calling you cold and distant. When you start trusting yourself and leaning into your knowing is when they're going to start calling you a heathen and a backslider. Ask me how I know. And can you handle that heat? This is where we get so many entitled children in the world. Because when the child turns on you, then we start pacifying. We start trying to pacify instead of putting our foot down. When the child don't like you no more because you got rules and regulations in place and requirements in place, now it's difficult to be rejected. And it is. It's difficult, especially to be rejected by your own. But sometimes rejection is your protection. Protecting you from exploitation. Because when a person cannot hear no, when a person can't have a boundary enforced, that's because they want to exploit you. That's because your exploitation is benefiting them. It's time for us as women to step into our authority. Is it scary? Absolutely. Because most of us have been programmed to be scared of men. Most of us have been programmed to be scared of systems. Most of us have been programmed to be scared of threats instead of being a threat. That's the type of time I'm on. I get it. I totally empathize with those who are afraid right now, with those who feel like everything is crashing down on women right now. This world is trying to, in a barbaric and savage way, take control of women's bodies, of girls, and is showing exactly how far they're willing to go. And I get that women are saying, I feel terrified right now, but I want you to become terrifying. I want you to become terrifying. Absolutely batshit crazy. For real. Now, for my mental health and wellness community, listen, Don't go off the deep end. But honestly and truly, one thing that has always worked for me in my life, and I'm gonna go into a little personal anecdote here, take from it what you will, but I know I look tall online, but I'm not. And I tell y'all that all the time. If you've been following me for years, you know this. I am a tiny little, tiny woman. 4'11". I'm 100 pounds, even after trying to gain a bunch of baby weight, as this is where I am. And I live in New Orleans. I am a New Orleans girl, done the things in New Orleans, okay? And as a teenager, late teen years, I worked on Bourbon Street. Now, if anyone has ever experienced Bourbon Street, you know it is quite the experience. It's easy to get lost in the crowd. It's easy to get assaulted. It's easy to have somebody just doing entirely too much. And when you're working on Bourbon Street, it's a whole different experience because anyone who's worked in hospitality knows, especially hospitality in a high tourist city, the ways that people treat service industry members, it will bring shame to their mothers. And one of the things that has always worked for me, because I was able to navigate that environment largely alone. I'm a stellium. So I tend to be a loner. Largely alone, largely unprotected, for real. I didn't have any kind of spiritual grounding or anything back then. I was fiery, but I wasn't as fiery. But it's always been helpful for me to be open and upfront about how crazy I am willing to be. And I know that we have been trained, programmed, I mean, physically, like Pavlov's dogs, programmed away from our rage. Think about the term hysterectomy and how hysteria was named after the uterus, and this idea that women just go crazy, all of that, and what was done to women in order to fix the problem. And we need to reconnect with that. We need to reconnect with the version of ourselves that knows to fight back when our lives are in danger. Even before all of that, that knows to be firm, be clear, don't play with just any old body. Because again, we've got to make things like harming women, like harassing women, uncomfortable. Even down to it doesn't even have to get up to the level of harm. Even the microaggressions we deal with in the workplace. I am loving seeing women ask people to explain that. Well, what did you mean? Because I didn't understand that. Why would you say that to me? Make them uncomfortable. Stop making it a shame that you carry. Now you're being slowed down in your life, and it's hard for you to walk away because now you have this bag that's attached to you from this situation. And that's really what we have to be willing to do, is to put down people's stuff and to walk away from what does not fit. Walk away from what doesn't fit. If it's an identity that you've picked up, if it's definitions that you've picked up, if it's a programming that you've picked up, if it's a place that you've decided to be in your life and you know it's time to move on, if it's a person it's time for you to walk away from, there is wisdom in you walking away and you saying, I am ready for what is next for me. I refuse to continue to sit in this. Because that's the thing. That's when you know you are ready to break the programming of being somebody's playground, of being society's playground. When you get up and go, when you stop trying to make it fit, make it work, um, talk yourself out of and give yourself reasons to stay. Recognize when a lesson is complete. Recognize when an environment is complete. Recognize when a relationship is complete. Everything is not meant to last forever. That was hard for me to recognize in my religious journey. I was raised to believe that you are born into what your family is and you remain that for the rest of your life. That is not, that's somebody's truth. That's not the truth. Recognize when you are holding on too long and when you're playing with yourself, when you are opting into continuing to be a place to play. And it's so important because, like the situation this week with Tina Campbell, I saw a bunch of women saying, "Oh my God, she done wasted 25 years with this man, and he done walked all over her, and he been showing her he didn't want her. He been telling her he didn't." And that may be true. And she may have needed 24 years of that lesson to truly get it. She might have overstayed her lesson. She may have, I don't know. But time is not a thing in the spirit realm. Your soul is here to learn lessons. However, when your soul is done, I saw a clip of her some years ago saying, "I am done. I am done. It's happened again and again and again. I've been graceful. I've done all I can do." That was her soul saying, "I am complete here." Sometimes when we are programmed to be a playground, we don't listen to what our soul is saying. We listen to someone saying, "Oh, well, I think you should do it this way. Well, I think it should go that way." Someone who does not have to live in that, the result of that choice with you, even if they're adjacent to you. I'm a sister. I'm a big sister. I know. I be telling my sisters to leave though. I'm not, listen, even as a wife, my husband know I am not a stayer. I'm not putting up. I'm just not. There is too much to be done in this life. There is too much to be done in this life. And honestly and truly, my belief around that is a man who has time to be doing all that is not on purpose, and I don't have time for a man that ain't on purpose. So, like, no shade, brother. You can go on and live your life. I'm not gonna be that crazy where I'm trying to make you stay with me. My feminine success school clients know we had a whole unit on being hard to get but easy to be with, and that's one of my ethos. So it's kind of like be slow to hire, fast to fire, uh, along those lines. but 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 yeah, you got to be willing to walk away from the table. And when you are willing, when you are a woman who is willing to walk away from some stuff, you don't have to ask for respect. You don't have to, because people know that you're not playing. When people know you are not playing, is when people stop playing with you. Again, I'm saying this as a little tiny little woman. Okay. I do have brothers, but I don't have brothers who live close to me who be like boxing and beating up on people and stuff like that. I have every reason, stature wise, to be afraid of these men out here. And I promise you they don't play with me at all. And if they did, they'd be bleeding. So there's that. But across the board, you've got to become that woman that does not play. And what that does when other women see that, yes, there will be those women who hate it because they are so tied to the identity that they built to be able to survive and thrive in patriarchy. But there will be way more women who see that and they now have permission to own their whole self. They now have permission to show up and not play about themselves. Because sometimes, especially when you think about corporate environments and things like that, sometimes we acquiesce and we pacify because no one else around us is standing on business. Everyone is acquiescing and pacifying. And it can be difficult and challenging to be the only one. It's okay though. You can be. You can do hard things. You can do difficult things. You can do challenging things. And difficult and challenging things outside of being quote unquote productive. You can do difficult and challenging things when it comes to putting your foot down and being on purpose in your life and making sure that everything else in your life is on purpose. Um, let's see. Did I miss any notes? Oh Lord, I said your body will tell you when to move if you listen to it. But if you've been programmed to stay and pray, you may ignore your knowing. You need to pray as you are walking away. Pray while you are preparing. Pray while you are planning your next moves. Pray that your ancestors, angels, and guides and spirit team go before you and open the way for you. Pray for the clarity that you need. Pray for the support, help, whatever it is that you need on your journey. Pray that the thing that you are walking away from be replaced with something divine and aligned. But sometimes we are praying to stay. And again, circling back to that, we are praying to stay in a place that we have completed. We are praying to stay on a level that we have completed just because it's familiar. Just because you don't know what the next thing looks like. Just because you know it's going to come with a fight. Just because you know it's not going to come easy. Sometimes we pray to stay. And I know because I have been there. I have been there. I had a friend ask me years ago, if nothing changes, would you be okay with this? And I was like, yeah, I'll be fine. I'll be fine with it. And she was like, that is scary. You need to figure that out because that's scary. And it's the reality of it. Sometimes we are okay with staying in something only because it's familiar, not because it's beneficial, not because it's supportive, not because you're growing there. And then we try to manufacture growth. We try to come up with reasons why God is saying to stay. And finding silver linings on piles of shit. Stop looking for that. Stop looking for a silver lining on the shit. Be willing to walk away. A statement came to me as I was writing these notes. You can be as soft as you get to be as soft as you're willing to protect and as free as you are willing to defect. You get to be as soft as you're willing to protect and as free as you are willing to defect. Are you willing to go against all of the programming that tells you as a woman you need to submit to everything that's happening to you and this is God's will for you, or you need to wait on somebody else's permission before you make a decision, or you need to just make it work with that man because you can't be out here in the world on your own. You can't raise them kids by yourself. You can't. Are you willing to defect from all of the stories and the identities, some that were built for you and some that you have taken on yourself in order to survive? Because what we are asking for, what we are demanding now as women, the shift that society is demanding, because it's more than just women at this point, there are a lot of men who are tired of men's shit, who are tired of the patriarchy's shit, who are tired of capitalism's shit, and are ready for something new. But we cannot build that on the broken pieces of the programs that we are saying that we want to walk away from, saying that we want to redesign or redefine. And sometimes that's what we keep trying to take broken pieces and build something rather than tapping into our divine feminine, our divine ability to create from nothing. We can create from the ashes. We can burn this whole shit down and we will be okay. I'm not saying we should, but I'm saying we can. We are capable. We can change this whole thing. We do not have to keep trying to shuffle around in the bargain bin, shuffle around in the reject pile of society that is clearly showing us it does not work, that all of these things were illusions, that all of these things were false, and try to make something out of that. We don't have to operate in scarcity. We have so much within us. But we got to put our foot down first and stop letting people exploit it. Period. We got to put our foot down and stop letting them run the show. Whatever that looks like in your life. If that looks like a strike and you not going to work, if that looks like a tax strike, if that looks like going no contact with somebody, if that looks like calling somebody and letting them know what it is and what it ain't, if that looks like demanding better, whatever it looks like, speaking up for yourself, taking inventory of your life and asking yourself a real question. Where in my life am I letting people play with me? Am I letting systems play with me? Am I letting myself play with me? Where am I playing? And it's time for me to put my foot down. And I don't mean our whimsical girly playfulness. That's not what I'm talking about. You know the kind of play I'm talking about. I'm talking about the kind of play that leaves you crying. The kind of play where somebody took your ball on the doggone basketball court and you crying instead of going and get your ball back. That's the kind of play I'm talking about. And when we can be honest about that, when we can be, it's not about acknowledging or being aware, becoming aware of these things in order to beat ourselves up or blame ourselves. It's about reclaiming our authority and taking back our power and our ability to set this world straight. We are really the only ones who can. And I'm not saying that again as we have control over anybody's behaviors, because we don't. But we do have control over whether they get to participate. Act right or you can't play with my ball. That's how that go. So I don't want to hold y'all too long because y'all know I could go. Y'all know I can go. I'm looking at ways that I can make these conversations happen more often. I'm definitely opening more space and making more space available for more women to come on and share their stories of how they have escaped high control situations and situations where, very much like we're talking about tonight, you're told Stay, let it help, see if it can work out. Make your relationship work, girl. Make that job work, girl. Make that work, girl. Now you sitting there with an autoimmune disease and they on a doggone cruise somewhere enjoying their life. We're not doing that no more. We are putting our foot down and taking back our power. All right. So with that, I'm going to say peace. Feel free to continue the conversation in the comments. I'll be down there talking with y'all. Share this with a woman you know who needs the message. And I look forward to seeing y'all again soon. Peace.